Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite girl Favor here. If today is your first time of coming across my YouTube channel, thank you so much for stopping by. So my loves, for today we are going to be learning how to cut and sew an under-bust corset. Now if this sounds like something you're interested in, without wasting much of your time, let's head to the tutorial proper. So for today's tutorial, this is the fabric we are going to be working with. This is an African print and I have this to be 1 yard. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut out the basic lines, and from this point I came down by 1/2 inch and labeled it our shoulder. Now from that our shoulder I came down by 10 inches, which is the breast point. I marked my under-bust measurement, which is 13.5. Then from my under-bust measurement I came down by 17.5, which is my waistline. And then the full length of the blouse we are going to be working with today is 24 inches. All right, now we'll go ahead and get our shoulder divided by 2, which will give us 8.5. Now I'll come down to that point by 1 inch, which is going to be my shoulder slope. Then from that point I will mark the round neck standard, which is 3 by 3 inches. I will mark it down here, and then I will go ahead and connect our shoulder slope to the neck just like this. Okay, so we are not going to be using this part. I'm just going to go ahead and just draft this part out so that we can understand what we are doing. Okay, so basically we are not going to be using the upper part since it's an under-bust corset that we are marking. Okay, now that I've gotten this part, so this is where I am going to be stopping. So to this point I believe that we understand what next we're supposed to do, how to get our armhole curve and all of that. Okay, now from the center of our blouse I will come in by 4.5 inches, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, also known as our bust span. I will mark it at my under-bust measurement. I will mark it at the waistline and then go ahead and connect these dotted lines together. So we'll go ahead now to get our dart intake. Now from this our breast point we are going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so for the length of our corset, remember we have marked from our shoulder to our breast point, from our breast point to our under-bust, and then our under-bust to our waistline. Now we are going to be getting our corset length. If we use this full length, it's going to really affect it's going to disturb you when you wear it. So from my waistline I will come down by 6 inches. Now you can come down by 3 inches, you can come down by 4 inches, you can come down by 5 inches depending on you. But when you're cutting an under-bust corset, you want to make sure you mark the length you're going to be using is not going to disturb you. You know how uncomfortable corset can be when you sit down. So to avoid that, you make sure it does not come down so much. For my clients, she doesn't want it to come down. So with that being said, from that our full length now, I will just go ahead and come up by 1 inch. Okay, remember from our breast point, we came down by 1 inch. Okay, now coming down to our waist measurement, I'll come in by 1/2 inch, and then at this other side I will also come out by 1/2 inch. Then I will go ahead and connect these lines to that 1 inch that we came down from. Since it's an under-bust corset we are making, we are going to only start our body measurements from the under-bust. So my under-bust divided by 4 will give me 8.5, and then I measured the dart intake, which was 1/2 inch, and then I'll be imputing my seaming allowance, which is 2 inches. Come down to the waistline, take my waistline circumference divided by 4. I will mark it down here. I will go ahead and check the dart intake that we have. I'll check the dart intake, which will give me 1 inch. I will replace the 1 inch here, and then I will add my extra 2 inches seaming allowance. Okay, now at the full length of our corset we are going to be making use of our hip measurements, which is 11.5. I will mark it. I will just go ahead and add my sewing allowance, which is 2 inches, since there is no dart at that point. What we're going to do right now is to go ahead and connect the line starting from our under-bust. Remember, we do not put our round bust circumference measurement because it is an under-bust corset that we are marking. So from our waist measurement to our corset length, you can see the way I curved it. That is how I want mine to look like. All right. Now, depending on the design you want to do, this is totally optional for me. I want it to have a bit of effect at the center. So from this our center front, I will come up by 1/2 inch, and then at this other side I will also come out by 1/2 inch, and then I will go ahead and curve it in like this. You can see the way I'm curving it in. The essence is that I want it to like have that effect, to be able to pack up my bust up properly under it. That is the essence of this that I'm doing. So if you don't want yours, whichever design you want yours to have at the front, please go ahead and achieve yours. So I'll follow from here now and connect it to the 1/2 inch to the center front, just like this. Now, with that being said, what we're going to do next now is to come to this other point. After blending it properly, I will now go ahead and connect this line to meet that 1/2 inch that we marked. Now, I am going to go ahead and use my marker to highlight it so that we will know the area that we are cutting out, okay? Now, after highlighting it, we'll go ahead and come to this our full length. I'll come up by 1 inch, just to give it a nice curve at this point. So I'll connect it to the center front like this, and then we'll go ahead and cut it out. Okay, so guys, I've gone ahead to cut it out. Now, for those of us who does not want to, use any boning or anything, you can go ahead and fold in your dart like this, and then go ahead and cut it on your fabric. All right, if you don't want your under corset to have a joining, you can go ahead and just fold it in just the way I've just folded this in, and you're good to go. So guys, the next thing we're going to do is to take these front pieces and place it on a fresh pattern paper and use it to trace out our back, okay? Just like what I'm doing here, go ahead and achieve yours just like what I'm doing here, okay? So you want to make sure you arrange it down properly. So after cutting it out, I'm going to go ahead now and separate the front pattern and keep it aside so we can work on the back pieces. Now, the back pieces, from the center of our back pieces, we are going to come in by 2 inches. After marking it out, we'll go ahead and use our ruler to connect the lines and then cut this out. Okay, so this is our back pieces. Now, if you look at it, you see that the front pieces and the back pieces are no longer the same. The back is smaller. Now, where we cut out our 2 inches, I will go ahead and just use dots to indicate that this is where our loop is going to be, lies where we're going to be imputing our eyelet, okay? And this is what we have. Now, I am going to be using this back pattern to place on the front pattern. Remember, we minus 2 inches from our back, so I will move it in by that 2 inches. Now from here, I will just go ahead and try to trace out the dart intake that we had at the front pieces. So I'll do the same thing here. Now after achieving that, I will go ahead and keep the front pieces aside and then connect that line in a straight form. It's like this, okay? Now after doing that, we will go in by 1/2 inch and come out by 1/2 inch. So I'm able to do this because I am following the shape of the corset. You can see from that shape you can easily identify the waistline of our corset. All right, so the next thing we're going to do right now is to add multiple darts. Okay, so from that first line of our dart intake, I will go ahead and divide it into 2. Just look at what I'm doing here. Go ahead and divide this into 2 so that we can be able to snatch our corset waist. Okay, so after dividing it at this point here, the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and connect it in a straight line, just like what we did for the first one. Okay, now after doing that, we will come to this point from our waistline. I will come out by 1/2 inch. I will mark it down here, and then I will also come in by 1/2 inch. I will mark it down here. Now the next thing we are going to do is we're going to be connecting our dart leg just like this. Okay, so in total, I minus 2 inches from my corset so that I can be able to snatch the waist. So I snatched the waist by 2 inches. Let's say if my waist measurement is 34, I ended up doing 32 inches because I took away 1 inch dart from this back pattern, and then I took away 1 inch dart as well from our front pattern. Don't worry, you're going to understand. Just pay attention to what I'm doing here. You will understand. So the essence of this multiple that we are doing here is for us to be able to snatch our corset waist. I hope we understand. So remember that this first dart intake we did, we replaced it at the front. So I hope we understand to that point. Okay, so what I usually do is that I will label this my center front, and then using an arrow to indicate which face they are going to be facing, and then this one is going to be our center back one. All right, and I'll also use my arrow to indicate the way I am going to be attaching them, so that I don't get confused at the point of joining it. And then this is going to be our center back too. So what we're going to do right now is to go ahead and cut out our darts. Okay, so please do not forget that when we cut the front one, this first dart here, remember, is the first dart we took, and we replaced it when I was imputing my basic bodice. So the only dart that I did not replace is this second dart. I hope you get it. So I will go ahead and cut out the dart. Just look at how I'm cutting it and where I'm cutting, and you are good to go. Okay. So my loves, after cutting it, this is the pieces we are going to be using for the back. So you can see it here. So I will still go ahead and label this one and label it to 3, so that I will know what I am doing. So this is it for the back piece. So we'll go ahead and keep the back piece aside, so that we can work on our front pieces, just like what we did for the back. Now remember that this dart here was replaced when I was imputing my body measurement. So that's what I was explaining earlier. Now I am going to be dividing my corset into 2 using that line that I just marked. That is the main dart line, which is our nipple to nipple measurement. I will place it like this, okay, and then go ahead and use my tape to divide it into 2 like this. Now after dividing it into 2, I will just mark it down. After marking it down, we will go ahead and connect a straight line. This is just the dart intake that we took at the back pattern. Okay, just like what we did for the back. From here we will come out by 1/2 inch, and then from here we'll come in by 1/2 inch, and then we will go ahead and connect our dart leg. So with this now, I hope we are able to understand that the only dart that we did not replace is this last one we are doing. So this is 1 inch at the front and then 1 inch at the back, making it a total of 2 inches that I minused from our corset. That is our corset waist, so that it can be able to be snatched. All right, so after marking this out, we will go ahead and connect this one clearly to make it clear, so that we'll know where we are going to be cutting out. After doing this, the next thing we are going to do is to go ahead and cut out our dart. Okay, so please go ahead and achieve yours. So if you're not understanding what I'm saying, just pay attention to what I am doing here and you are good to go. All right, so after that, we'll label this our center front one, so that we'll know the one that is going to be at the front and the one that is going to be at the back. And to avoid any confusion, just go ahead and do what I'm doing here by identifying your pieces with an arrow. So this arrow will be a guide, so that you will know where you are going to be joining, like the face you're going to be joining. So after that, we'll go ahead and label it just like what we did for the back. We are going to go ahead and cut out our darts for the front as well. Okay. So my loves, this is what we have for the front pieces as well. You can see that I labeled them. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do right now is that we are also going to use an arrow to identify the place that is going to be the upper part. So you can see what I'm doing here. to enable me know the one that is going to be the upper part. So I also indicated by labeling it. Now the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to be cutting on our fabric using all of these pieces. So in total we have a total of 6 pieces, 3 for the back, 3 for the front. And remember, when we are cutting it on our fabric, we are going to be cutting our fabric on fold. All right, we're going to be cutting our fabric on fold. Please do not forget. So this one here is the front pieces, and then the other side is the back pieces. So my loves, if you have watched this tutorial to this point and you're here to click on the subscribe button, please, what are you waiting for? Please kindly click on the subscribe button. It's totally free. You're not being charged for subscribing. So my loves, I've gone ahead to use our pieces to cut on our main fabric, as well as cut out the interfacing for this. So on our next tutorial, we are going to be joining all of these pieces together. So that's basically it for this part of the tutorial. So I'll be seeing you guys on our next tutorial. Please do not forget to go green. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on our next one.